Well, it looks like we are live. Now, let me ask you, if someone 10 to 20 years, your junior or your senior, started showing interest in you, that is romantic interest in you, how would you respond? And if you had romantic interest in someone, and let's say they were 20 years, or shall I say there is a 20-year gap between your ages, how would you approach them? So, again, how would you respond if this type of person approached you? Would you be going, hmm? Or would you be going, talk to the hand? This is something that I feel you should really consider if you're out there dating. This is something you really, really want to pay attention to. Because in this day and age, people have gone through a few things. Let's say they've gone through COVID and they are just more serious and more focused about finding true love and being with the type of person they want to be with, regardless to what other people's opinions are, shall I say. So today our topic is age just really a number? And we're going to talk about interracial age gap relationships. Yes, I that's just how I call it. They're interracial relationships, but they also are age gap relationships. So, I'm April, the loveologist. Lovebirds, welcome to Ask the Loveologist. I'm a certified matchmaker, certified love coach, and the president and CEO at Authentic Love, where we have a number one priority called interracial relationships. If you have questions about today's topic, go ahead and put them in the comments. I'm going to stop and make sure that I check the Instagram and the YouTube and see if there are comments there and or questions. But if you happen to have a private question that you want to share, you can actually email me at the loveologist at authentiqlove.com. And yes, that will be in the chat here in just a minute. Let me type that in. The loveologist at authentiqlove.com. I will be looking for your questions in my email. So that should appear for you in just a few seconds there. Again, I want to welcome you, especially if you're new to my channel, and hope that you feel at home. Be sure that you put some comments or questions in the chat box. Let me know where you are viewing from. And before we get deep into what we're going to discuss today, be sure that you text, email a single friend. Maybe you need to send out some smoke signals, as I usually say, and let them know that the Loveologist is live on YouTube and Instagram. And today, she's talking about something different: age gap relationships. Also, if you would just take a time to go ahead and subscribe if you're on YouTube, or follow if you're on Instagram. And I would really appreciate that because you really help the channel and help me be able to share this awesome info with other people who are looking to get some assistance in their dating relationships. So let's get started. Well, according to my notes here, I do have another announcement for you. Be sure that you watch and pay attention to the lives, not the lives, but the reels that I'm putting out, because on next week, we will be broadcasting in a different place than we are now. And you'll want to see those reels because on those reels, it's going to tell you where we're broadcasting, just like today's reel told you that we are here on YouTube and on Instagram. We are making a few company changes because we want to be able to serve you better and help you with all your dating questions and help you level up your love life. Let's jump in. I'm going to talk about age gap and interracial relationships today. Excuse me, just a moment. Let me get some water. I may not get very deep into it because today I wanted to share with you some things that you want to be aware of when it comes to age gap relationships. Because, like I said earlier, people now are very serious about their dating experience and they really want to be with the type of persons that they want to be with. So it would help you, just like I've always said about interracial relationships. It is very beneficial to your dating experience for you to have an understanding and have some knowledge of what it is that you may find yourself in, or when you are approached by someone that maybe you didn't expect this type of person to approach you. So let's get started. I'm going to share some things today that I want you to be aware of. I'm not going to get really deep into this because this is more so an introduction to age gap relationships. I've not talked about this before, but I do find it interesting and very intriguing. And so today I'm going to just give you a few things that you want to pay attention to in case you find yourself in this type of relationship. Well, first of all, a romantic relationship must be between two consenting, age legal adults. And you're going, why are you saying that? I'm saying that because here in the United States, to get married at age 18, you can get married without having to get any type of consent from anyone. So that kind of makes it legal for you to be in a romantic relationship, at least as far as I'm thinking and how that works with today's presentation. But the thing is, I want you to also be aware because we are talking about age gap. We're talking about age. And when it comes to age, especially in the United States, there's all kinds of legalities involved. So I want you to understand also that there are some states in the United States where 18 may not be a legal age for a person. And so I want you to make sure that you check what's legal in your state so that you won't be saying, well, the loveologist said. Okay? Because there are some states that it's not legal for you to even get married until you are age 21 or 23. So when it comes to this age gap stuff, you want to make sure that you are legal. Just saying. Also, just as I have said when it comes to interracial relationships, age gap relationships are not for the weak. Just like I've told you, interracial relationships are not for the weak. So you want to make sure that you are very well aware of these things. Hold on just a second. Let me check over here and see what's happening in the chat. All right. Well, it looks like our chat may be working correctly this week. I'm excited about that because I see Whispers in a Bottle is over there in the chat. This is great. And as I told you before, if you need to send me an email, my email is there in the chat for you as well. TheLoveologist at authentiqlove.com. So let's go back to what I just said. I wanted to repeat that so that I can make sure that I've said it clear for you. When we're talking about age gap relationships, one of the things that I feel is very important is that it should be between two consenting age legal adults. And as I said, in some states in the US, 18 makes a person legal for marriage. Although we're talking about dating, yes, 18 is what makes a person legal for marriage. But in some states, it is when you are actually older than 18. Okay, I see that note there about YouTube. Thank you. And if you are open to an age gap relationship, like I said earlier, somebody may approach you that you were not expecting, or you didn't even think someone of this age would approach you. You want to remember that this type of relationship is simply not for the weak, just like interracial relationships are not for the weak. Now, according to an article that was titled, "What is an Acceptable Age Difference in a Relationship?" they were saying that age gap is usually 1 to 7 years can be an age gap. Most people feel like it's something to really start paying attention to when you're in the between 4 and 6 years difference in age. Because that is actually, those years right there is when you, or shall I say, the couple begins to notice some differences. And when I'm saying differences, I'm like maybe differences in experiences, difference in education, difference in communication styles, and just differences in culture, even if everybody is an American. And oftentimes you will find that people outside the relationship have their own opinion very often. And so here are some of the things that you may uh, encounter, shall I say, from people outside the relationship, because you might overhear people, shall I say, behind your back saying things. And I want you to be prepared, just like I tell you in the interracial relationships. I want you to be prepared for some things. I can't prepare you for everything, but I want you to be prepared. So some of the things could be, people might be saying, what could they possibly find in common? And you're wondering, what's wrong with them? We got a lot of stuff in common. You may find people address you as a mother son or a father daughter. And the thing is, you don't want to be getting offended or starting something, or you just don't want it to be a mess. Somebody might say, wow, they're robbing the cradle. And then this is the one that bothers me the most. Because there's other things I just said are things that people just kind of mouth off about. But this is one that bothers me the most, that would ruffle my feathers. When you're out and about and someone decides they want to start flirting with your mate because they assume that you're not a couple. Now, that right there is a bit challenging for me. But like I said, I want you to be prepared for these types of things. Because, like I said, these things also happen when you're in an interracial relationship where the age difference may be what society considers appropriate. Well, I see a question here, and I'm going to get to it because it says, what if you are in your mid-20s and you like older, mature ladies? I see that question. We're going to come back to that in just a minute. There are also a few items that you want to be familiar with or think about, or some of these you want to make sure that when you're in the vetting process, you actually talk about them and make sure that you are on the same page with them. Because one of the things about making sure that an age gap relationship is solid, or that it lasts long and lasts on into marriage and forever, is that the two of you, just like in an interracial relationship, need to make sure that you have your relationship together. The two of you are together and on the same page. So the first thing that I'm going to suggest that you do also is that you take your time in getting to know each other. Regardless of what the differences are in the ages, take time getting to know each other. Because just like I've said in interracial relationships, you want to build a strong bond before you begin to introduce each other to your friends, to your family. Because again, you want to make sure that you are on the same page and that you are prepared to handle some of those remarks and things that I said earlier. You want to make sure that you build a strong communication between the two of you. There used to be a show, and I can't think of the name of it. The Newlyweds. Yeah. In that show, they would ask the men a question, and the ladies would be sitting there with a poster board or something on their lap with the answer on it. You want to build your communication so that if somebody's asking questions of you, like they did in that game show, that when your partner answers those questions, you know what the answer is going to be. You can't know everything, but you've got to build that communication so that you are a united front and you know what their answers are going to be, and you can defend them if you want to, you can support them if you want to, or you could just handle that for them if you need to. You also want to be sure that this person is interested in you as a person, interested in you for the characteristics you have or the knowledge you bring to the relationship. They're interested in you because of who you are. And they're not just interested in you for good sex or finances, or some people just want a place that they can live rent free. So you want to make sure that you take your time in getting to know this person. And you want to know and be solid that this person is really interested in you and does not have some other ulterior, wild and crazy intention. And one of the things that you always hear me say is this: this is about your happiness. Okay? You're the one who has to live in this relationship. And does this person, regardless of their age, have the characteristics and the personality that you desire? Does this person treat you and or handle you the way that you desire? Now let's get over here to this question, this little hot question. The question is, what if you are in your mid-20s and you like dating 10 years older? Well, that's good for you. I'm happy for you that you like dating 10 years older. There are a lot of people out there who like that. But I want to say this to you. When you come across the person, or if you've already come across the person, make sure that you personally are fortified. When I say fortified, that you are confident, that you are ready to take on whatever is going to come with this relationship. Make sure that you are open-minded, because a person who has difference in age, they've been through some things. They know some things. Are you ready to have conversations with this person and not feel like you just don't know anything? Or they're saying things and it doesn't make you uncomfortable. If you're interested in someone who's a lot older than you, then my suggestion is take the plunge. You might want to check them out casually first to see if this is possibly something that they might be open to. But if you're interested in this type of person, like I've already said, a lot of the deal is the communication. It's the communication. And just like in any other relationship, you want to know what type of things the person likes, what type of things the person's not going to put up with. So if you're interested in dating 10 years older, 20 years older, It's up to you whether you are confident enough to make that approach or spend time with the person just to see how that goes. Now, I need some feedback from you to see if that helped you or if we need to discuss that further. Now, I want to go on to my next point. I will be checking the chat to see what your response is. Another challenge that you could possibly come up against if you're in an age gap relationship is your family. Your family may be the toughest audience that you have to deal with, just like in an interracial relationship. But think about it. If you're in an interracial relationship and there's an age gap difference there, you might even get even more challenge from family. And the thing is, they may not understand it or they may not want to understand it. And you want to be prepared to deal with younger children if necessary, but you also want to be prepared with older adult children, depending on what age you and your partner are. Another thing, too, is when you are dating and you have an age gap, you don't want to slip into mothering or fathering if you're the older person, because that is definitely not good for a relationship. Because this younger person is interested in you for you. They're not looking for another mother or another father. So you want to keep things to where there's a certain level of equality, and this person feels that they can share their opinions, they can make decisions. They'll always be able to share their opinions and make decisions, and that they feel comfortable and safe. During the vetting process, you also want to discuss having children. You know, are we thinking about birthing children? Are we thinking about adopting children? Are we just thinking about being a big brother, big sister? How do you yourself feel about children? I know there are many young people who simply don't want to have children. Or maybe they don't want to have children until they're at a more mature age. So this is something right here that you really, really want to discuss, because it's going to relate, or shall I say, it's your age, where you are at the time, is going to have a bearing on how this question about children is discussed, how it is handled. And here's something else that really, really rose up really loud in my mind as I was preparing for this. Because we're talking about an age gap, and that means that one of the persons could even be like 40, 50, 60 years old, and you could even be as young as in your 40s or your 30s. You also want to know if the older person can even have children or father children, if there has been a hysterectomy involved or a vasectomy. And then there's also different types of illnesses that can prevent the ability to have children. So when you're in an age gap relationship, there are conversations that will have to be had that would not be tackled in other relationships. And I just want to raise your awareness so that you can go ahead and get some of these things in your mind so that you can go ahead and be ready to discuss them. And I know some of these things are not for a first date conversation, but as you settle on into the relationship, these things really, really need to be discussed, especially when you start heading towards marriage. Let me look over here and see if we have another question. How do you start speaking with someone a more mature age? Well, one of the things you can do is you can just start a conversation with them just like you would normally. And you also want to pay attention to their body language. And as I always say, be sure you check for the gold or the silver. Make sure that you don't fall in a hole there. And, depending on the situation, if you're at events and things that you just typically go to and you're both there, you can actually kind of get to know each other. You can also just spend time with the person. You can ask the person's friends if you necessarily need to. Um, what are their thoughts on these types of things? But just like any other conversation, as you get to know the person, you may just sometimes have to find out if they're open to dating, if they're interested in dating. And you can put that in your own words. Sometimes you might even throw out a hypothetical situation and see how they respond. But I tell you one thing, if you don't speak up and say something, then you're going to be mad at yourself later on because you let the opportunity slip by. And you also need to be prepared if the conversation does not go in the direction you want it to go. I hope that answered your question. Let me know in the comments if any of these responses are helping you at all. Okay, so last we talked about during vetting, you must discuss children. The next thing I have here is in an age gap relationship, honesty is very important. You're going to also find that a more mature person may be very upfront, very to the point. You're also going to find that they probably will not engage in petty arguments. So you want to be clear and concise in your communications, which we've already talked about. You also may find yourself having lots of very open discussions. Okay, I see a yes over here. Is that a yes to both of the questions or to just one of the questions? So, as I was saying, honesty is very important in this type of relationship, but it's important in all of them. But you're going to find honesty maybe in front of you more frequently. And you'll have lots more open discussions. And I would say if you're with a very mature person, arguments won't be a big deal. Arguments will probably be more communication, more give and take, and easily solved or quickly solved, shall I say. Another thing in this type of age gap relationship is health issues. All right, health issues. One of the things that I've often talked about when I'm just talking about dating or interracial relationships is that a lot of people don't realize that, especially dealing with mature people, you're going to end up talking about health insurance and life insurance. And a lot of you younger people, you may not want to talk about life insurance because it's just something that as a young person you don't think about, you don't and a lot of times the reality of it just doesn't come to you until you reach a certain age. But when you're in an age gap relationship and the person is mature, this is something that you're definitely going to need to discuss. And I would suggest you make sure you get this discussed before you get married. Or I know some of you may be thinking about moving in with people. Of course, this is not something that I support or recommend. But if you're at that point and somebody's talking about moving in together, and maybe you're the type that is really not concerned about getting married at all, be sure that you have this conversation where you talk about health insurance and life insurance so that you know what to do, when to do. It is important for you to know who your person's doctors are and know things about their health insurance and know what kind of life insurance they have and who's the beneficiaries and all of that stuff. It is just so important. And it can also be a very positive conversation. The thing is, it's where you let your mind go when you're having this conversation. Keep your mind out of the gutter and just have a positive educational conversation when it comes to this. Now, the next thing I wanted to share is this. I've often talked about online dating with you guys. And I've also talked about how online dating can help prepare you for a lot of things in your dating experience. There are actually, as I've said before, some boutique dating sites that are for age gap relationships. If that's something you want to pursue, I found this information and I just simply wanted to share it with you. I want you to remember too that even when you're doing online dating, you want to know about basic online dating and the secrets and hidden secrets of online dating before you just simply jump on there because you may be open and interested in a age gap relationship. But here is a dating site that I found, which is actually agegaprelationship.net. If you want to test the waters, or shall I say, put your toes in and see how it goes, or see how people respond to you, that is just a suggested thing that you can give a test out. But I also want you to remember that I am a matchmaker and a relationship coach, and I can actually help you as you navigate through your age gap relationship. And one of the ways that I can help you with that is if you decide that you want to check out my program called the Emerald. It is a matchmaking program and it is 6 months of unlimited matches. We have just a few spots left. And let me tell you, you're going to want to get in this because this is something where I can really, really help you. Some of you are really concerned about the vetting process. Some of you already know that vetting is a challenge for you. So I will be doing that for you. So that way you don't go ahead and just bypass some red flags. Believe me, I will have taken care of the red flags before I introduce you to anyone. So, like I said, I can definitely help you through an age gap relationship. And in this Emerald program, you're also going to have several one-on-one sessions with me so that I can help you prepare for whatever you may come across. And it is also an opportunity for you to actually be able to save yourself thousands of dollars because this Emerald program is actually valued at $6,000. But that is not what I will be offering you as a pricing. So whatever you want to do, whether it be working with me as a matchmaker or working with me as a love coach, be sure that you get on my calendar and let's have a chat and let's see what we have at Authentic Love that is going to work best for you. And the link to my calendar is actually scrolling across the screen there. The LOVEologist chat is what it is. And I'm going to put this in the chat for you as well because maybe you need to be able to just copy it and paste it. It should be showing up there in the chat for you in any second there. So again, I can definitely help you through your age gap relationship. Or if you find yourself in one and you really didn't plan, I'll be glad to help you out and talk to you. But like I said, to get the most help, you want to check out my Emerald program, because I'm going to tell you, I am really excited about it because I know that I can really help you level up your dating experience. I want to remind you to keep your eyes peeled because we will be sending out reels that are going to tell you what platforms we're going to be on starting next week. Because, like I said, we are definitely looking forward to making sure that we can serve you better, making sure that we can answer your questions. And also, at the top of the chat is my email where you can send me an email if you have a private question that you would like me to answer. And you know what? The thing about questions that Ask the Loveologist is that there's probably somebody else out there somewhere listening in and watching who really has that same question on their mind that you have. So go ahead, take a minute, write me a little email, let me know what your questions are, just like this question that was here in the comments. Well, again, I'm April, the Loveologist. I'm a certified matchmaker, certified love coach. I'm also the president and CEO at Authentic Love, where interracial relationships are our top priority. Make sure you follow me on other social media. You can find the Loveologist April or April the Loveologist on Facebook. And if you've not subscribed right here on YouTube today, be sure you subscribe. And if you're on Instagram, be sure you follow and tell your friends to join us because we are here at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on Monday evenings. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you. If you have gotten some good value out of today's discussion, go ahead and let me know that right in the comments. I'll be looking for your comments. So give me just a minute before I jump off here. I need to make sure that I did not miss a question. There is a message in the chat that I do not understand. Okay, let me go over here and check and see if there are any comments that I missed. Alrighty, we're going to check it on the phone because right at the moment the computer seems to not be cooperating with me here. Or as my friends would say, you sure that's not an operator error? Which it could possibly be. But we want to make sure that we did not miss somebody's question. Okay. Well, it seems to be raining over here and the technology does not want to cooperate with me right now. So, I am going to bring this to an end. Okay. Well, it seems to be raining over here and the technology does not want to cooperate. Now the technology wants to work. Okay. Life is so interesting. I appreciate you, Whispers in a Bottle, saying that this was a good discussion. Thank you so much. technology wants to work. Okay. Again, I'm April, the LOVEologist. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. One thing I can tell you for sure, we will be on YouTube, but we'll be on some other platforms as well. Be sure you keep your eyes peeled for those reels that'll be floating through Instagram, the shorts on YouTube, and the reels on Facebook to tell you exactly where we are next week and tell you what our topic will be next week. Make sure you follow me on social media, and I'm looking forward to hearing your questions for any of our future Ask the LOVEologist broadcasts. I'm April, the LOVEologist. Remember, I am your favorite LOVEologist. I'm a certified matchmaker, certified love coach, and the president and CEO at Authentic Love, where we prioritize interracial relationships. Bye bye now. Thank you for watching.